Hello, this is the FB recap. This is from the most latest playtest on the AltTAB servers. The playtest was held on Sunday, as it always is. It was held Sunday, November 24th. I'm going to be going through all of the maps that were played, because I played in both the EU and the NA test. Most of the maps were played twice, so I'm going through the most recent versions of all these maps. And I'm starting in reverse order because I feel like it. So this is VIP Vixen. It's a CP VIP map, so the prefix, it's a VIP map. There's a VIP. VIP needs to cap the point here. As far as I know, it's single stage. There might be a multi-stage component to it, but I flew into the skybox and I didn't see any other map anywhere, so I'm pretty sure it's single stage. I could be wrong, though. Who knows? I only played the single stage because my team was goated. My team was goated at holding last. This map is a beta 3, so it's kind of farther along in development than all the other maps I'll be talking about. And because of that, my feedback is going to be a little different than if this were like a brand new map that had no like developmental time on it or anything. So a lot of my feedback is going to be about stuff like this. I really would like it if you put little indicators on little patches underneath pickups, because you have them in some places here, and I think they're great, but I think in other places, like right here, there's no indicator that there's a pack here. So if you walk by while it's gone, you have no idea that it spawns there. That's just like a minor thing that I always think is important to like make sure your players are aware of. And then the other thing is the routes to this first point. The first point is fine. I thought having red team spawn so close to the first point would be a problem, and especially with them having like this high ground, it does feel kind of rough. My one thing I would really like is if instead of over here, I know you have this like cool little jump puzzle here, and you have this little like jump over this. I would actually just prefer if this route had a, how do I say this? If it went out like this way, so that way I'm walking along this way to the point, and I get this nice little area, so I can Uber and just drop down here into this corner, because several times it felt like, when you're doing an Uber push, you want to kind of Uber from the side here, and then you have to like jump over this little bearing rail thing, and then you're kind of stuck in the fight zone pit. So either having like a little platform that goes this way, like this one, and then having like a staircase ramp that goes up this way, just as like an extra thing next to this cool little jump here. Either that, or please just clip some of this, like take this pallet and put it over the front of this car so I can just run up this in one little motion. That would be nice, because what happens is you kind of get like, if you're trying to do the jump and there's a soldier here, you just get stuck in the corner, and that feels really unfun. The other thing I would say is, for this first point, you probably already know it, but there was like a really nasty sniper angle. I did see you molding about it in the chat, so just reminding you that that does exist, and it was a huge little problem. But then as we move from the first point to the second point, all of this area is like closed off, so you can't really explore it until the first point is capped. But the second point played pretty well. For a final point, it had like a really good balance. My one problem with it is that it kind of feels like you wanted to restrict red from pushing back out of the point, which is fair, which is good. I think that's not like a bad thing, but you put so much emphasis on preventing that red is just kind of like bottlenecked to these two platforms here the whole time. Felt kind of a little repetitive in the gameplay loop. I would really like it if this doorway here specifically was like both of these doorways were wider. You already have like this little U-turn that you do here to cut off sightlines. I'd like it if this doorway was just actually, let me probably be best to just change classes so that I can shoot more. It'd be nice if this doorway was like this instead of being so tiny and cramped, because one demo man with a dynamite, he throws it in the doorway, you're stuck here for like 5 seconds. unless you're an NG and you defuse it, I guess. This doorway being narrow, I don't really see as a problem. I also would like it to be a bit wider, so more players on red and blue could like push through each side of it, because you already kind of have this little area as like a kind of spam fest. Engineers put a dispenser here, demo men are throwing all of their stuff over here, and red spawns like right here. This resupply cabinet being right here leads to some really kind of degenerate tactics where demo men can kind of like stand right here and with either dynamite or pipes just spam them this way and like have, if they weren't ass like me, they can just shoot over this wall and like down that little choke there, and instead of having to like wait the whole reload timer, they shoot all of their pipes, reload, shoot all their pipes. I know that on my team there were a few people who were doing this, specifically with like dynamite as well. There were some people who were doing this, and because you have this little backboard here, some people would wait for the point to start being capped and then kind of like bank shot like that, and it lands right on the point. I think this resupply cabinet, even though it looks nice with the symmetry, I think this should be moved to this wall. And my reason for that is because then you can't just like sit here camping the door like this. You have to actually walk over to the side, pick it up, and then walk back out. The same problem still exists, but it's a little bit less without having like change the whole spawn room. The other thing is that, yeah, the door goes through the roof, which is kind of funny. It does it on both sides. The other thing is I don't think you need this like health pack and ammo here. This is so close to the spawn, you can just get rid of it. I don't think anything will change. And I wish that if you were to drop down here, there was like something to do. You're kind of just in the fight pit, because the point doesn't have any exit points from it. I wish that there was like any route anywhere, like at all. Like it could be like you go in here and, or maybe not that way, but like you go in here and you come out here and then you go up and then like you're back here and this is like a route. Because having all of this like drop down zone area is like a huge commitment, and what ends up happening, or at least what felt like happening, what was happening a lot was people on blue team would start a push, they'd Uber it in from here, they'd get on the point, and then they just have nowhere to go. They're just like in the center of everything, there's no cover anywhere. So it kind of feels like you're leaving them out to dry a little bit. Maybe having like this area, you can like go inside of it and drop down discreetly. So instead of having this like balcony here, you have like a little hole in the ground and you can drop down it and like set up a little bit of a bunker, a base. I thought something cool was you could reincorporate this jumping idea here. You have a little jump route in the basement here, because jump routes are harder to push up. So you can have like people on red camping the top of it while, or people on blue, sorry, people on blue pushing in, camping the top of this room, and you can have like a little room down here that they can then Uber out of and be like much closer to the point, so they actually have a chance of making it up this staircase. I think that'd be really cool. I think that'd be nice. As for any other like closing thoughts on this map, I had a lot of fun. I will say, I think that this spawn room might be a little too close here. Maybe you should... I don't think it's that big of a problem, but there was also this little clipping error I forgot to mention. But I feel like the point would change its play drastically if the spawn room were to be like... Even if the spawn room were to be like this, right? And you had to walk out this way, just that like extra second and incentivizing players to take this route as the main route might make the point play a little better. I don't know, but that is pretty much going to close my thoughts on Vixen. This is by Hazel, if I didn't mention. Thank you for your map, Hazel. Yeah, that's thoughts on CP Vixen B3 by Hazel. Next map. Okay, next map. This is VIP Roll Down Alpha 7, A7. And this is by Greatface, yes. This map I've played a few times. This is the newest version of it. There is a lot I have to say about this map, because this map is very weird. Not in a bad way, just I think having an entire flank route that is this disconnected from the point is very crazy and ambitious, but it kind of works. I think the biggest problem with the layout is a lot of the map tries to make players go so out of the way for what is like intuitive for like attacking the point. Because let's like assume this is a player playing your map for the very first time. I think this is a great exercise to do when you're trying to like figure out how you think a map will play. Players aren't going to know a route exists unless they either A, see an enemy using it, B, see a teammate using it, or C, somehow accidentally discover it while they're playing like Spy or some kind of flank class. They're doing some kind of like sneaky stuff on Engineer or something, right? So when it comes to your map, you're obviously directing players. You have this big window here, you have a big sign that says A, they're downstairs, they're like, okay, I'm going to go here. If they go up here, this route is a dead end for right now, so I think this door shouldn't even like open. They should have like a red no hand sign instead of like even opening with the setup phase ending, because this goes nowhere. You can't do anything. I think you can actually maybe squeeze in here. You can actually squeeze in here. I guess technically it does do something, but it's not necessary. So players see this route and they're like, ah, okay, I'm going to go into this. They go through this little grate and they're greeted with the point right there. They see the point. It's right in front of them. They're going to want to go straight to that. With the way that you've made your map, that is the worst possible thing they could do, because you have all this high ground that is kind of given for free. You have a jump pad right here, so defenders can like actually get up and use these routes. And there's just so much insane height variation that feels almost borderline unfair to fight, because how am I supposed to deal with someone as blue when there's a red guy just all the way up here? And not only that, you've given them this giant like fence so they can see when people are pushing them. They can be ready for the push. They can prepare themselves for it. It feels like this room shouldn't even exist. If you want to have this incredibly high ground and this incredibly like different gameplay sort of style, gameplay loop, what I would recommend, it might be a little bit drastic, but I think you should consider tying some of these routes to be closer to the action than they currently are. For example, I think this room, the staircases should be flipped. What do I mean by that? I think that having all of your platforms like balcony overhangs on the back wall here isn't bad, because obviously I think you have this window here so you can like defend against the sentry spot. You can actually like shoot the sentries that people place up here, even though they place them like here, and then it's a bit harder. That's like a good idea. That's a good concept. But I think that by flipping this route around and having the staircase here, like staircase, you go duh, duh, and now you're up on the ramp here, you're on the balcony. I think just by doing this, now as blue, I'm less likely to get pushed in because I have a much better angle to like defend the push against. People have to look up and behind and in front of them when they come in this door. It also means that like if an engineer sets up a teleporter, now they're like past all the sight lines. It gives engineers a better place to set up aggressively. When doing all that, what we see is that now that I'm on this high ground here, you don't have to have a route that goes down and then back up again. You can just connect these two right here, leading to a more intuitive routing choice, because these are already at the same height. And by doing that, by having like a doorway here, a player walks down here, sees this doorway, but sees that doorway up there. Oh, the player says, where does this go? Wow, this goes to this room right here above the point. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's neat. That's cool. Will this change the way that your map plays? I think so, but I think that just by having a more straightforward routing choice, you'll find that maps often change their balance a lot. There was one round where blue team lost because their VIP didn't know that you were supposed to go up this jump pad to get past all the sightlines there, walk down here, drop down here, go up this ramp. Yes, I'm doing the entire route. Not go through the doorway. They have to ignore the doorway, go up this ramp, go up this ramp, go up this ramp to this doorway, to then U-turn again to this doorway. You could just have like the doorway here be there, so that way they can see the next route they need to go to. Like, you could honestly not even have all of this area up here, you could just have this ramp go here, and then doorway. Doorway here. To like cut down on travel time and route time. Because if you see here, right, the routing is actually really sort of straightforward. It's just that you've added a bunch of extra steps to it to make it more convoluted. And that's not necessarily like a bad thing. It's just that it will inevitably like kind of hinder the experience players are able to have on your map. There was a lot of rounds when playing where players would constantly be telling each other like, hey, you need to go use this route. You need to go like here, then here, then here. And the players that they were trying to communicate that to just didn't understand. A better example, ironically, a better example is actually on the last point of your map. First of all, your last point is really closed in. I would highly recommend against having your last point here. I think a much better place for it would actually be the centerpiece right here. I think this would be a really cool last point where it's sort of underneath this little bridge kind of thing, overhang thing. It's in the center of the area. It's very easily visible, and it offers many angles of attack to it for blue team. They can kind of look at the whole area, but red team also has like all these little high grounds they can jump on top of and defend. A sentry here covering the point would be awesome to play against, or even like a sentry up here trying to cover against stuff. You have a lot of long sightlines, I'm noticing. Also, I will say, you have this back spawn exit. There was a sniper who just kind of sat all the way back here. You should probably put a fence that goes from like here to just make this a little less bad, because this is a really deep sightline. Even though there is like a route over here and stuff. But just by having like the point be moved to a more open location, I think the last point would be a lot more fun to attack. And then also, when blue team is pushing up inside this inner hallway, they get this doorway which they can attack out of, or they get this little room they can attack out of, and then they can hold the spawn here. And then red team's like second spawn exit, which I don't think you need red team spawn exit to be here. You could probably put a spawn exit right here, and then just put like a crate in front of it to block the sightlines, if you really want to. I think that'd be really good. I think then you could get rid of a lot of, again, kind of the theme of this is a lot of this excess space that you don't really need, and like condense your map down to the parts that matter the most. Because a lot of your routing in here, if you look inside this room, it is just prop spam. You could get rid of so many of these props, and the gameplay space would be better for it. You could remove these crates in the corner so that I can actually like strafe to the right and like get a nice sight line down here. You can, if you want, you can keep this crate stack in the middle, but like you typed barrel and put every type of barrel you could see, and then you typed crate and put different crates because you were conscious that, like, getting self-conscious that like you were spamming the same crate prop too much, and you ended up spamming all of them. You even put a wood stack in here. What is this doing here? What the hell? And you have a forklift. Like, I think you can tone down a little bit on a lot of the spam of props in here to make the gameplay space a little bit more straightforward and enjoyable. Because I get that you wanted to block this sightline. Let me tell you, buddy, you blocked it 1, 2, 3 times. I think you can keep the yellow barrels. The yellow barrels do a great job. You can get rid of these crates. Let me just move around in here a little bit. Like, there's so much stuff you can just kind of get stuck on. Like, this is really awkward to have areas where, like, I can see through, but I can see and shoot through, but I can't, like, go to. It just, it's getting in the way of people being able to, like, have fun on your map. And I think that's why when people were playing it, because I'm pretty sure you were there while it was being played. I could be wrong, but while people were playing it, people were kind of like complaining a lot and getting really frustrated when they were on the blue team, like I said, and the VIP didn't know where they were supposed to go. I think that just by doing a couple of these things, like this room up here has a full ammo kit and a health pack and a ramp that goes up to it. If I'm a player, I'm like, oh, this looks like a route that's meaningful, that's useful. I go up here and I dead end. That makes me angry. That makes me angry. Where am I? Why is this a route? What am I doing here? You could just remove stuff like this. You could get rid of this little staircase. You could have I guess you could have the upstairs balcony, but you just get rid of the staircase so you don't ever want players to feel like the mapper is tricking them without it being on purpose, right? When I hit a pumpkin bomb and I explode myself, that's on me, the player. When I get trip mine pranked by a minefield that's unlabeled and unmarked, and I just die for it, and I face a 20-second respawn timer, yeah, I'm a little upset. But I will say this map does have a very unique identity of its own. I don't mean to be like overly negative. I do want to say that I think that this high ground is really fun. I think that also being able to like rocket jump from up here all the way down here is really cool, and it makes its own kind of like style. And I will say, somehow, you have actually made a balanced map where in VIP mode, if red team is coordinated, they can defend, and if blue team is coordinated, they can attack. This is very much so a balanced VIP map. I think there's just a little too much map. Oh yeah, and the other thing I want to say, the final thing I want to say, is you have this little displacement here. I think it would be beneficial to go to a couple of areas and maybe turn the ground from this like gray texture into a lot of these sort of displacements that you have. I know it'll be a little more time consuming, but I think it will help to the player feel of the map a little bit, because once you get to this back area, it is just all the same like two textures repeating over and over again. Not that that's a bad thing, obviously it's a dev map, but it can lead to players getting lost even more. It might be beneficial to like have one tower here, that's just all white. Just an all white tower. So then when I'm walking around the map, because you have this brick building, the brick building is great for navigating because I see the brick building and there's only one of it. There's only one big brick building in the whole map, and then there's this other little brick building right next to it, right? And then you have this little shed right next to it that's made out of metal. I think that just like spamming some random textures on some of these buildings might help with the problems of people getting lost in the maze. But yeah, this was feedback for A7 of Roll Down by Great Face. Next map. Alright, this is VIP B10 Red Light District. I don't think I've ever seen a map where the version is put before the name, but this is by Killjoy. Pretty sure. Let me actually check. Yes, this is by Killjoy. And this map, I will say, I had to miss it when it was played, because it was only played once in the EU test. I had to step out early. So I haven't actually played this map myself personally, but I did want to mention it because it was played in the playtest. And I do have like, I have a tiny amount of feedback I can give just from running around it, is that I have noticed this kind of trend where the gameplay feels unfocused, if that makes sense. It feels like very ambiguous as to where I'm supposed to, like, I picked engineer for an example. If I'm an engineer and I'm like red team trying to hold the point, it feels like there's not really a good spot to pick, because I could pick this room, which feels like the only place I can really build a sentry that's going to meaningfully protect the point. Blue team spawn is right there. So, some very aggressive positioning here. And also this room, not that I'm like closed in, but it's kind of very awkward to hold. And you know, this is the first point. So let's go to the second point. And I'll show you what I mean again. The second point kind of doesn't have a definitive hold location. There are these like windows up here. There's a small ammo, and you can like snipe from over here. You could maybe build a sentry here, but it kind of feels like what you're supposed to do as NG is kind of just put a shark sentry, as I like to call it. You put a kind of shark sentry to catch people lacking in this little corner, and maybe they won't notice it as they walk up onto the point. It feels very ambiguous. It doesn't really feel like there's a quote-unquote set hold area. It feels like the hold area might be here, but the health and ammo is on the low ground, meaning I have to like leave this spot I like. It might be beneficial to like move the health and ammo up here for one thing, I don't know. Again, I will reiterate, I haven't played this map myself. This is just things I'm noticing as I'm walking around it. And the final thing I will say, without playing it, I do know that this point is an absolute grind, because you've put the cap area on the low ground. And remember, this is VIP, so it's not like we can just stack bodies on the point. The VIP, the little baby VIP, has to sit on the point. The way that you've set this up, there is just so much opportunity for spam to go into this little pit here. I don't know if you've clipped off all of these upper areas, actually. I'm curious. Oh, you have. Okay. That's interesting. I wouldn't expect those to be clipped. But that's good that you did, because it would make the gameplay horrible. So maybe that's why. But you have a lot of, like, really kind of mean spots for trying to have a VIP get in, because first of all, the VIP has to get into this room, not die immediately as they're making the run across the trenches. Get into the pit, pick the right corner to sit in, and then not get spammed out. That's a really crazy ask. I don't know, maybe it plays amazingly, maybe it doesn't, but I felt like giving just like a tiny bit of feedback, just because it was played and I do want to mention it. The one thing I will say is that I did notice when I was running out of these spawns that one of these buildings is like labeled, yeah, this one's labeled 69, and then blue teams is, where is it? Yeah, blue teams is 420. That's funny. I like that. That's pretty cool. I don't know if all the other numbers like mean anything, but that one's silly. Oh, there is a route here. Oh, it might be beneficial to like make a route that is on the outside here that goes to the high ground on this side. That could be cool. Because having one high ground route, sorry, I'm just thinking now, but having one high ground route on the right side, it almost feels like there'd be a nice mirror to have like a staircase that goes up here for blue team to get like a little foothold into the area up here and then drop down the health pack and ammo. Who knows? I don't know. But I look forward to playtesting it properly if it's actually played in the next playtest. So this is B10 Red Light District VIP by Killjoy. Next map. Alright, this is Koth Rip Own Head Off, or Koth Rojo, as I've seen some people call it. Koth Rojo A4, or Rip Own Head Off. This is by...
5, 4,
oh my goodness,
3,
I'm gonna completely butcher this.
Control point enabled.
Okay, this is by Mertzi Erast. Incredible. This map, I don't know if it was intentional. It seemed like it wasn't, but you could get on top of this roof, and it seemed like there was a lot of commotion about this. I actually really like this. I really like that this turns an otherwise really, I'm going to be honest, quite boring kind of area into one with more dynamics and purpose. I just kind of wish that, you know, because obviously it appears that it was not intentional to the layman's mind. A lot of the map wasn't made to like accommodate for this kind of high ground or this kind of area, so there's not many roofs on a lot of areas. You can kind of just shoot down from wherever up here. It does make for an extreme height variation, but what it also does is it makes it so that if you want to contest the point, you can actually go up and then drop down on the backside and contest the point. I think this point is, even though you have barricades, they need to be flipped. I think the barricades need to be in this corner and this corner, because there is a horrible sightline that just stretches across like all of the point this way, even like tiny little gaps like this. Like, this whole side area just has horrible sightlines coming from it. Even when you get up here, you can just kind of see everything. I almost wonder if you should just block the sides of the buildings off, maybe, or block the front of the building off and just have it be like grading. I would actually like it too if the point was the entire like area, kind of like Harvest. I know that sounds a bit extreme, but I think it might be a really interesting kind of shape to have like such a massive control point, or maybe not like the entire floor plan, but like more than just this tiny space, because when you're only able to sit here in the corner and getting shot at, that kind of sucks. It also might be beneficial to put like a pole going through the center of the building to help break up sightlines, like a maybe 96 by 96 unit pole. That will cover the thing, the indicator, but you know, maybe you could put it inside some glass so you can still see it. Who knows, like a glass pole. Might be a little awkward or weird, but just something to break up these sightlines, man. I mean, come on. Come on. The other thing is spawn camping is kind of a nightmare on this map, because your spawn not only has a window, it has graded exits, and you're on low ground to this, which is right outside your spawn, and this area has like nothing to fight towards. So you come out of spawn and you miss your rocket jump because you're bad. You come out of spawn and you're just kind of forced to roll out really quickly if you can, to hopefully not get stuck. There was one round where my team was absolutely destroying the other team because they just couldn't get out of spawn for like 3 minutes. And, you know, it's Koth, so it's a 3-minute timer on whoever caps. So that was kind of rough. That was kind of rough. I think the last thing I'll say for this map specifically is I think a lot of the areas could be made more interesting if instead of having this ground here with all these pathways, if you use displacements. I think displacements would be really good on this map. I think that having more uneven ground would help with the sniper problem, and also make areas like this, you could just have a rolling hill that goes up to the point. I think there probably should be some kind of like, you know, on like Viaduct, and pretty much like every Koth map ever, there's like an area, so there's like the spawn room, and then there's like all the exits, like the left, middle, right exit, and then there's like the kind of courtyard area, and then the point. You've kind of sandwiched the spawn exit into the courtyard. And that means that, like, as I'm fighting forward, I'm not fighting for control of courtyard here. I'm fighting for control of your spawn when I'm standing up here. Which means that if I win it and I have the point, now I'm just spawn camping you. Like, now I'm just spawn camping you straight up. I didn't realize. Okay, sorry. The windows aren't, like, two-way on the spawners, but the gate is still see-through, so my point still stands about being able to see into spawn. Get on top of this. No, it's clipped off. You guys are so weird with your clipping. You clipped this, but you didn't clip the roof. I don't know if it's intentional, though. Who knows? The other thing also is that, like, your health and ammo placement on this map is a little bizarre. I think that you could probably make some... I don't know how to say this, but, like, when you're doing a fight, right? When you're having a fight with someone, you want the health and ammo usually to either be what you're fighting over, so it's in, like, a centralized location, or what you're fighting to retreat towards. On your map, you kind of put the health and ammo in a place where no one's ever fighting, and it kind of makes it awkward to even realize it's there. I think a good place for health and ammo would be right here. This spot right here is just screaming, I am a health and ammo! I am a medium health and a medium ammo! Right here! Look, you've even, like, centralized it with the whole area. Everything's just drawing your attention right to here. It's beautiful. You have a health and ammo inside this building, but it's kind of like... I don't know how to explain it. It's a little awkward in its placement, again, because it's just kind of like right next to the point, so you're fighting, fighting, fighting. Oop, I want a little health and ammo. I think this should be, like, moved, like, ever so slightly back, so that as I'm, like, leaving my spawn, I'm running up, I'm running up, I'm running up, and it's, like, right here feels like the place where it should be. So I remember it in the back of my brain. I'm like, oh, there's a health and ammo there. So I'm fighting, I'm fighting. Oop, I need to retreat. And I get the health and ammo from here. Also, I forgot to mention it. It's really dark under this area. It'd be nice to have a light. Or, like, maybe skylights in here would be cool. Who knows? Yeah, that is about all of my feedback for Koth Rip Own Head Off. I don't know if the roof is intentional or not, but if it is, it's really cool. Especially because of, like, jump pads and stuff. If it's not, unlucky. We playtested a map that was broken. But I hope you got good feedback on it. Meyerstri Erast, however you say your name. Next map. Alright, this is Koth Blender A2 by Milkman. I've played this a lot. This is a really, really fun Koth map. The point looks way different than it did before. But this is a 4-team map, as you can tell, because there's yellow and red and green and blue. And it's just really fun. This is just a really fun map. It's really solid. I think, like, honestly, if you really wanted to, you could just start, like, art passing it. But there are a couple things. This mid area is really... I mean, it's a 4-team map, so... Come on, there's gonna be a lot of chaos and a lot of sort of anarchy. But you've kind of made a really smart decision by having this, like, underground route that's sort of straight from spawn. By having this, like, underground route, when engineers of their team build a jump pad down here, I don't know if you did this on purpose, but it's, like, the perfect height to just contest the point immediately. It's so epic and cool. It's just a very solid, like, layout and concept. And by having the map sort of come to this, like, X circle, like, crosshair shape, you've really focused the gameplay down to like the center of the map, while still having a lot of these like extra, how should I put this, like not like flank routes, but like alternative routes that you could take to have other classes still be meaningful. One of the things that I saw a lot was I really enjoyed playing sniper on this map because I could come to this like side area and then be sniping right onto the point and just be able to see like the whole map. But I'm still really exposed because if like I kill anyone on red, all they do is they just walk here and in like 2 seconds I'm just dead. Or if someone walks up down here, they can kill me like really easily. And even though I'm like disconnected from the point, I can't see anything going on down here, which is like, you know, a really big fight club sort of area. One thing I will say, I know this might sound weird. I think you should have a tiny room underneath the point with a health pack in it. That is my one thing I would suggest for this map. I think that you should have it be so that like these routes all form this shape. I think you should have, it's going to be really hard because it's curved geometry, curved doorways, but you should just have like a slit right here going across, and in the middle is just a big health pack, like even maybe a full. I think that would be so hype, so that way when you're fighting up here, uh-oh, dip, go get the full, come back, oh my god, it'd be so peak, there might be a little bit of like health and ammo spam. I don't think you need these small health packs here because you have a medium like right in here. I think the medium here is great. I think it's such great placement for the actual area, and it leads to a lot of really interesting fights. The one thing that may also help the map a little bit is I think the cap zone, instead of it being like just so close to the point, I think it could be a little larger, like maybe half as large as this, if that makes sense, like right there. Because as of right now, you really have to hug the wall if you want to like capture it. It'd be nice if it was just like maybe a little bigger than the indicator implies. That'd be pretty cool. Other than that, I think that your map is really solid right now. I don't have any like huge notes. Maybe the last thing is that like there are some rooms that are like really uncharacteristically dark, like this area here. You're using 10% reflectivity textures. Maybe brighten this room up a little bit, because there was one round where I was like sat in this corner and I guess like the light wasn't hitting me or something, so I was just completely caked in darkness. I don't know. Someone ran by me and they definitely looked at me and they weren't being friendly, they just missed me. And that's probably it. You could also like get rid of this little metal thing here that you have to jump over. I think it'd be better if this was like a ramp. Just make it so you can just walk up it and walk down it. I think that'd be nice. Just a nice little thing, you know, nice little features for ease of mobility. I actually like that you can't jump back up this. I think you should keep that. I don't think players should be able to like just jump up here. I think it's nice that they have to like walk around to get here. And that's really all. This is a really, really solid 4-team Koth map. This is probably my favorite 4-team Koth map that I've played in development so far. So, really good job. Really good job. Next map. Okay, this is a 4-team CTF map. This is CTF Turbulent A2. This is by Ruby. And I have a lot to say about this map, because there's kind of a discussion that was held during one of the playtests, discussion, argument, whatever you want to call it, about a lot of the design of the map, and I kind of want to, you know, for anyone who doesn't know anything about the map, this map has a gimmick. Or I shouldn't say gimmick, because gimmick has like a negative connotation, but it has a feature where if you pick up the intelligence and you try capturing it in certain routes, because the intelligence has this little like electric aura around it, it emits an aura blast when you get near other electrocuted things, like these poles on the rooftops, which means that you have to take the intel on the lower routes. Ultimately, this doesn't change as much of the gameplay as I thought it would, because, in my opinion, the main route you want to go anyways to, like, capture the intel is the lower route. But it is something I feel like is worth noting, because I haven't really seen many maps with, like, a sort of gimmick like this before. I think it's really interesting because a lot of CTF maps tend to want to do something where if I pick up the intelligence, X occurs or Y occurs, or you know, like a door opens. Actually, there's a map that I'm going to talk about later that actually has something kind of like that. So, or had. I forget if it's removed or not. But this map is for CTF, so the way that you win is by capturing blue, yellow, and red's intelligence each one time, and defending your own intel, obviously. And the way this map is constructed is it is set up in such a way that the spawn exit only has like one spawn door to leave, which means that it's very susceptible to a demo man sticky camping it, because you have this little like low ground here. You just pop, 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 and then you wait for the door to open, and then you right click because there's no other spawn exit. I think there should be like one other spawn exit, just to make it a little harder to spawn camp. You have all this space here. You could just put the spawn exit like here. You could have like the spawn facing this way, and have like one spawn exit on this side and one spawn exit like up here. I will say, with your design of your intel room, I like the windows that like overlook everything. I think it's cool. Your map is really small. I like all the trucks. I like how they're all colored. That's really cute. But your map is really small, and it kind of doesn't have that many routes, even though in theory it has a lot more. What do I mean by that? So, when you're working with 4-team game modes, or like 4 teams in general, there is going to be a lot more ambiguity in where the front line and where combat occurs. This is because yellow team might arbitrarily say, fuck blue team, and green team and red team and yellow team all say, fuck blue team in unison. So yellow team takes their route to blue team. They go up this little hill, they go into this little house, and then they go down it, and they end up at the same route that red would take. They end up in the same little area, this little hill. And then green team is taking their route to say, fuck blue, fuck blue. They're running through the tunnels, and they end up in also the same place that red team and yellow team all are screaming fuck blue chanting. So now I have 3 teams screaming fuck blue in my front lawn. What am I going to do? Well, blue team is just going to sit here and let all the 3 teams fight each other, because this is 4 team, and they're all wanting to kill each other. So I think you need to have more diversification in your routing, and have not as many of them bleed together like this. Something I thought would be really interesting is if you have these little areas like this, you have the staircase that goes up here, why not, instead of having it go back down again, why not have it be like a sort of bridge into here? Or maybe even a bridge like into here, like a little doorway that like backdoors the intel. Maybe it could be like a one-way door, maybe it couldn't be. I don't necessarily know. I'm just trying to like give ideas. It could also be something where like you go up here and it takes you to the rooftop of the enemy building. You have a really open map, like your skybox is huge. Like I can just fly all the way up here without hitting the skybox. I could rocket jump everywhere. But in practice, you've put up these barricades so that I can't actually go through them and really like get on top of the rooftop of my ops really easily. One thing that I did do that did help was I built like a jump pad one time. I built a jump pad one time, and I jump padded to here, and then I built another jump pad, and then I was able to like tell in team chat, hey guys, let's all jump pad onto their roof, and we all jump padded onto the team to our right's roof. You know, we kind of abandoned our intelligence, we were just having fun. But I ended up building like a level 3 sentry up on this rooftop of my opponents just by having like a jump pad network. I would like if I could do this in one jump pad. What I mean by that is I wish that this rooftop, which has a health kit on it, I wish that this rooftop was more involved in the gameplay space. I wish that right here, when I was in this room, right here, instead of having like, because you have this area here, it would make so much beautiful sense if I had a staircase that went up to this rooftop right here. And now I'm just like on the roof here. You already have sightline blockers here. You could add like more if you felt like it was necessary. I actually have like a separate suggestion for something you can do in a second. But I think that by having a route here, then as like an NG, I can be like, okay team, let's roll out. We all take one jump pad to get onto the enemy's rooftop, and now suddenly we're assaulting the intel together as like a squad. We can drop down through here, we can drop down through there, like we could just go crazy with it.
Enemy intelligence.
I keep forgetting about the gimmick. I think that'd just be really cool. I think it'd be really nice. So, on top of that, we need to talk about the center of your map. The center of your map is a giant square. There is stuff in the way to get rid of sightlines, but in essence, you've just made a giant plaza for your center of your map for a square.
The enemy
And
intelligence
what ends up kind of happening
base.
is a lot of people will be capping the intel, and they have to go through this middle area, but it's not like anyone's holding the middle area. So green team can get to red team really easily because they're right next to each other. Green team can also get to blue team really easily because they're right next to each other. If they ever want to get to yellow, they kind of have to awkwardly drop down into this center area and then do like a jump up, back up. It feels really weird. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels kind of like awkward. And then they end up in this tunnel where when they're walking up, they're on low ground. They turn their back. There's a spawn exit right there that can see them. They have to walk into this room with a single exit and then walk back out and then drop back down this way and go back out. It just feels so awkward to navigate. It almost feels like there should be, because there's this little back room here with the health and ammo. It almost feels like there was intended to be some kind of like route option here, like a split T junction kind of thing where you go up here. But this route would obviously lead right to their spawn. So what I thought was maybe, okay, well, this route is almost perfectly lined up with that. Why don't you just have this be a staircase that, again, goes to the intel room? I think having an intel room where one sentry is kind of... because you have this little balcony here. This is very clearly like, I want to build a sentry here. And this is a very good sentry spot. Not because it's actually a really strong sentry spot, just because I know that enemies have to come through this doorway and have to come up this hill. If I can always have a level 3 sentry here, and like always assume that enemies are going to be trying to like charge up this hill, and I waste their time, if I waste even like 2 or 3 seconds of their time dealing with this sentry, my team respawns, we all come out of spawn, we can't go anywhere else. There's 2 exits. There's this way, which faces the hill, or there's this way, which drops down into the hill. So I have to fight them because they're in front of me. Like, my team's gonna like take care of them even if my sentry doesn't kill them. Very exciting, very exciting. You added this grate to kind of stop the sentry spam, but I think you needed to put this over here, because as it is right now, yeah, they can't put a sentry like in the corner or over here, but they can still put a sentry over here. So I think if you had the grading be like here, or like I said, because this is like right here, maybe you just have the drop down be right here, right? Just have a hole in the roof right here. So then, if you imagine with me for a second, where am I? If I'm over here on green team and I want to take blue's roof, if I just do a jump right here, then boom, their grading is right here. I drop down into the intel room and I pick it up. This could be a really fun gameplay loop, because now I go up my staircase, I come here, I drop down, and I'm like right at their intel room. But the problem is to get back, I have to go the underground route. Now, the way that I've taken the intel and the way that I've like saved the intel into our base is 2 completely different routes. As of right now, the gimmick doesn't really come into effect that much, because it does stop rocket jumping soldiers and demo men, like explosive classes, from just going around the map, but that's kind of it. It'd be really cool if we could maybe make the dream of the map of having like the pathway affect the way that you go back actually come into effect, because now, oh my god, I got the intel from the rooftop, but now I gotta go underground. Another thing, snipers. They're annoying. You have a giant, wide-open mid-center field. There's a lot of snipers. There's a lot of sniper sightlines. I think you should take this building and make it a skyscraper. I think this should be a giant skyscraper. I know that sounds kind of weird, but here's my reasoning. By making this building a skyscraper, you now have like a lower lobby area. You can have this be like an interior section. You can have this be like a little road roundabout thing here, which could be really cool. And by having this be like, maybe not like a skyscraper, but having this be like a taller building, now you get rid of those sight lines that just go right across the center of your map and are kind of problematic. And also, you could put routes into the building. So now I could, I don't know, jump pad into the top floor of the building and be like in the middle of everything. And now if I want to hold the center of the map, I can actually do that because I have like an area to hold. Maybe the floor that you access isn't like this high up. Maybe the floor is like right here. And so you're just kind of staring down these little areas right here. But it would add a little bit more, I guess, flavor to the map. Because as it is right now, 99% of the time spent on this map is either in this room, this hill, or this sniper sightline, where you're just sniping people. Yeah, you've also put like the ramp right here, in the most advantageous position for sniper to just snipe people like this. So maybe you'd want to put like a barricade here to stop people from sniping like this. But I don't know. I think ultimately, by getting rid of this like scaffolding and having this be a little more open, and having the rooftop route be something like a staircase here, would benefit the map greatly. I think this is a really cool concept. I think this is a really cool idea. I think that the map just needs to evolve more to accommodate it. And that could be through things like I suggested, where you have the fantasy of capturing the intel and receiving the intel. And also with the skyscraper building, the other reason I would say that is because then it allows me to go to Yellow's rooftop, and then drop down through like a vent or something to pick up Yellow's intel and then make it all the way back. Could be really cool. I also think, another suggestion, you gotta have it be raining, man. This map is screaming for there to be rain. You gotta have it be raining, so that could be a really cool feature. And then adding like thunder, more like storm noises and stuff. Because I don't know if you realize it, but like the soundscape you're using includes rain. Like you can hear the rain falling as I'm talking. So I think you gotta have rain in your map. And if there is rain in your map, I can't see it because the effect is so small. Also, your health and ammo placements are really awkward. I think you should probably have like your health and ammo placements be in more sort of centralized locations. I think a really good one, for example, is it feels like there should be a health and ammo like somewhere here, like near my base, instead of like this one right here should be here. It should be like visible, not hiding in a corner. I didn't know this existed until I saw my teammate pick it up. I think having it just be like here and then having a wall here, if you're not going to make it a route, just makes this area like have more, like I'm fighting to get to the health and ammo, someone's fighting around this corner to beat me to the health and ammo, you know, adds a little more character to the area. I think stuff like that helps with the gameplay a lot. And that is probably all of my feedback for CTF Turbulent by Ruby. Next map. Okay, this is CTF Colliery. Colliery? I don't know how to say that. Colliery A20 by Killjoy, who also made Red Light District, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. 2 maps from the same person. Wow. So this map is kind of interesting, I'll say. I don't know where necessarily to start, so I guess I'll start with your intel. So, in a version I played before this one, these doors opened only when the intel was capped, or something. Like, you had to pick up the intel and then these doors would open. I'm glad that the doors are just open now permanently. Like, you can just, like, open them whenever, because even when that was the case, this intel was impossible to cap. So, why is your intel so difficult to capture? I'm going to give you the 3 absolutely biggest reasons why. This is a really nice Easter egg. I like this. Is that on red side as well? Am I stupid? No, it's not. I was going to say, because I played red team every single time. I never noticed a hammer. Wow. Can you get up here? Nope. Wah. That's okay. So, your intel is placed in the same room as your spawn rooms. So already, you've put your intel pretty much as far back as you can before it's behind your spawn. Which isn't a bad thing, but you've also put it on high ground. Now, the problem with putting it on a high ground is that you've only put one route to get up here easily, which is this ramp, which is on the inside of this building. There's no ramp out here. There's no ramp out here. There's only a jump pad over here, which is nice, but is really easily campable because you have such big high ground on the people going there. And also, when you're a spy and you take a jump pad, I'm pretty sure it plays like the red particle beneath you, even if you're disguised as a blue player. So there are a lot of times where a spy would get given away by the jump pad. There's also a jump pad up here for some reason. I don't necessarily know why. There's a jump pad right here. It's kind of awkward. But with your intel being up here, the main way that people would progress through the area is they'd have a heavy and a medic. They'd build up Uber right here. They'd walk out, and then they'd get as close as they can before they had to pop Uber. So they pop Uber, they go through this long tunnel, they go all the way up this hill, and now they're at the intel. They pick it up, and then they have to walk back out through here, make this little jump here, make it to the staircase, and if they die anywhere along this method, like along this route, the intel is really easy to guard. You have a shutter door right here. Shutter doors are very prone to being camped by anyone because basically a shutter door is something that has to make a noise, sound cue, and visual cue whenever people go through it. And also, the shutter door opens to low ground. So when people are down here, it's really easy to sticky trap them on this side, and when people are wanting to get through, there's like a lot of space back here that people can just be permanently spamming up here without like a care in the world. There was one round where I think like an engineer placed a sentry like right here, because we had like 3 engineers. Someone built a sentry there, someone built a sentry here. The whole area was just on like no fun allowed mode. Really sad stuff. And you have areas with like a lot of space and open space in them, but they're nowhere near the objectives. It's all in like middle. So this area just kind of felt very monotonous. It felt like a slog to kind of play the map at times. Every time I've played this map, I don't think I have ever seen a team win it without sudden death like overtime. And that is because even if you manage to cap the intel once, this sentry location is just... it's just so good. Like, having a sentry anywhere in here, even on this, like, weird spot here, just covers so much of the room, and it's just such a annoying thing to have to deal with. Even if you jump pad up to pick up the intel, you're probably gonna die before you make it out of this room. So, how would you fix this? Well, number one, I don't think the intel... if you want to have the intel be here, that's fine. That's okay. You have to have some kind of route to the high ground of this area from the outside. I think there is an obvious route right here where you put a little ramp that goes up this balcony and then walks across here. This would feel like such a good route because if you want to keep the intel here, that's fine. But now I can kind of corner peek all of the sentries and slowly whittle them down bit by bit, brick by brick, you know, just absolutely trying my best to get through all this stuff. The other thing is you have these tunnels that lead up on the low ground. You could, if you wanted to make it easier to get to the intel room, rather than having this route kind of connect in this way, you could just have this be a more sort of, how do I put this, the way you've done the geometry. You have yourself go up and then go down again. Usually this is a sign that this route was like tacked on later, or it's kind of like inefficient because you're doing it to like keep some kind of thing in place. I think it would almost be better to just, instead of having this route be up here and going down that tiny little corridor, if you just had a doorway here that kind of went down into here. But crucially, you approach it from the high ground, you go down, there's a doorway here, and it's not a shutter doorway. It's just a normal doorway. I think that having this like super narrow, tight exit here is just, it's really rough. I think this doorway, if you want to keep it, should minimum be like 64 units wider, and this hallway here should be wider as well, because it's brutal to try to sidestep in this area. I think this should be like an actual room, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, there's stuff in here. I think there should also be a health and ammo in this area, and I mean specifically like in here. I know that there's a health and ammo back here. That's great, but it would be nice if there was a health and ammo. Like, as I'm trying to get to the intelligence, there's just a health and ammo I could fall back to quicker, more efficiently right here. The other thing I will say about this map is your mid area is very disorganized. You have a lot of conflicting elements. I thought these were bridges. They're not. I think it might be beneficial to... You have like 3 elements of crossing mid. I think it would be beneficial if these buildings didn't have ramps on top of them and they were closed off. Like, you just couldn't access them and they were just treated as big cargo containers. And you forced players to go across this middle bridge. And I think it would also be beneficial if this hallway here, there's no reason why you can't make it wider. You could make this hallway like the width of this line here, so 128 units wider at the exit of it. So that way, as players are like running out, they can go to the right much easier, because this is a very, very narrow space here. And a lot of players want to get to this right side because it's the only bit of high ground they get that is higher than the exit they're contesting. And that's why I say, because players wanted to go through this route so much, you could just have a little balcony thing that connects here and goes here, and then players can get up here. I think that would help a lot. The other thing you could do, if you want to be even weirder, is you could just put a jump route. You could put, like, a crate and another crate, and you jump on this, and you jump on this, and then you jump across. Even that would be more beneficial, because as it is right now, until you put a route that goes to this high ground on this side that isn't, like, only this ramp or this jump pad, even moving this jump pad, even moving, like, a jump pad to be, like, right here, or moving this jump pad to be, like, in the center of here, so I could, like, hit the jump pad and go up to this balcony on this side, it would help so much with attacking this area. And that would also help with stalemates. I believe my last piece of feedback is I think that you probably should also look to... This map is very square in a lot of places. You have like an angled bridge here, but everywhere else it's like really square and flat and 90-degree heavy. It might also be beneficial to introduce a couple of organic shapes in. Maybe that could be cool. And I think this flank route here has like 5 separate rooms that you go through to get all the way here. If you really wanted to, this flank route could be like one hallway here and then an angled route that goes to here, and you'd cut down on the travel time by a lot, by a lot, and it'd make navigating this whole area a lot less awkward. That is going to do it for my feedback on CTF Colliery by Killjoy. Next map. Okay, so this is Arena Whacker. This is by Sophie. This is Whacker A2. If you're wondering why this map looks so weird, it's because it's kind of a gimmick map. It's like Smash Brothers. I am giving feedback on this because I have 2 things to say. One, this is very fun. This is a very fun map to just play casually. I really enjoyed my time on it. 2, I think there used to be buildings here that you could like corner camp in and it'd be like impossible to kill you. It's good that you got rid of those interiors. I think the jump pads need to go. I think instead of jump pads, you should just have a ramp that goes up to the top, because these jump pads kind of get in the way of gameplay and are very awkward. I think what you could do is you could have like a jump pad here that's like on the corner that launches you like a catapult kind of. So it launches you like this, like a faith plate in Portal, rather than having it be just an up-down motion. Because if you can camp the jump pad and stand in it over and over and over and over and over again, it's really hard to kill you. Because I think the jump pad overrides a lot of the gameplay. And like it becomes like, oh, who's on the jump pads rather than like whacking each other off the map. The other thing that would be really cool is if each team started on like the low ground on like a smaller building. So like the size of this square, there's just a tiny square off the main building, like off the main sort of structure, and you walked up a little ramp to get to the center. So there's like an epic like walking part as you get to the center. There's like just a 1 to 2 second delay before any of the chaos starts. I think that'd be awesome. It'd be so cool. And the the one thing I will say is I know that you made it, so I'm pretty sure you can play as like any class right now. I think if you're gonna make it so you can do that, you should make it so you can't play Scout. The reason is because Scout with his double jump kind of invalidates the whole purpose of the map. So either like keep it all to sniper, or if you keep it all class, just take out Scout, because his double jump just cancels all momentum when he gets whacked back. It's really funny. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to mention is, if it's possible, it would be really cool if you could somehow set it up so that there was some way to calculate like knockback power. I don't know if that's possible, but like if you could make it so that as the match goes on longer, if people like aren't dying, they just start getting knocked back farther and farther, that would be really cool. It would also be really funny. And I think this map, so other people mentioned it, it would benefit from like a quote-unquote final smash. So like you spawn in the super whacker in the middle of the map, and like you pick it up and you just have like 10 seconds with the like knockback 12 whacker. That'd be so cool. It'd be so fun. I really am excited to play this map again. This map is probably my favorite one to just randomly load onto and play. I played this with a friend the other night, just completely removed from like the server after playtesting. It's really fun. I think this concept is cool. I love Super Smash Bros. I love seeing it in TFT Classic, so I look forward to playing it again. Thank you so much, Sophie. This is Arena Whacker A2. And I think that is the last map. Recap. Over.